What's going on, guys? Robert to Prama Bree here. Just finished my workout. Today I did the Arnold's chest and back workout. It's something that I don't really do. I wanted to switch it up. Chest and back, I want to bring out my thickness this year. And Arnold was known for that. And I was looking through some articles and found his workout. And it looked really good. So basically his main idea is that he went as heavy as possible with a lot of volume and focused on the stretch and the contraction. Something that I preach, something that I talk about on my channel. So I thought I'm gonna give it a shot.
Alright guys, so this was Arnold's chest and back routine that he would often use in the off season for size and mass. By the time I finished this workout, I was absolutely fried and it really pushed my limits. This is an old school style of training and it consists of only the basic exercises, mostly compound lifts. And you do 5 sets each exercise. So start out with pull-ups and flat bench press as a superset, which means that there's no rest in between. I personally use dumbbells for the bench press for a better stretch. I find that when I use dumbbells, I can bring them down a little bit lower and it also doesn't affect my tendinitis. Arnold's idea behind his training is high volume with the heaviest weight possible, working in a pyramid form. So that means you start out with a lighter weight to do for 15 reps, then increasing the weight and decreasing reps to 12, 10, 8 and 6 for the back and 12, 10, 8, 6, 4 for the chest. So slightly higher volume for the back, which makes sense. It's a much larger group of muscles. Then moving on to chin-ups and incline bench press. I personally did underhead pull-downs instead, as I was already taxed from the pull-ups and wanted to keep solid form. For the back movement, Arnold preached fully stretching your lats and then fully contracting at the bottom of the lift. Arnold says that a muscle that is fully stretched can achieve a better contraction. For the bench press, I focused on keeping my scapula retracted and emphasizing as much of my pecs as possible rather than my front delts or triceps taking over. Keeping your shoulder blades back also shortens the range of motion and allows you to push from a much stable base. A mental cue that I often use for the pull downs is to pull from my elbows, which would initiate the lift with my lats, rather than my wrist, which would emphasize my biceps more than I'd like to. Again, 5 sets each lift and a whole lot of reps. By this point, I was already very fatigued and my forearms were so pumped I couldn't even make a fist. The third superset was the T-bar row, which is another classic exercise for the thickness of the back, supersetted with flat bench dumbbell flies. Notice as I'm doing the T-bar rows, I stretch my lats before moving the weight up for a full contraction. The more muscle fibers you recruit, the bigger potential for growth. The T-bar row is a very good exercise to build up your mid-traps as well as the thickness of your lats. For the flies, I focus on fully stretching my pecs in a controlled fashion. I don't use a weight that's too heavy. I like to be careful not to overdo the stretching part and avoid injuring my shoulders. The flies are more of a finesse exercise in my opinion, where you focus on the technique of the exercise rather than moving as much weight as possible. Again, 5 sets each exercise and I'm already starting to feel exhausted, but there's a lot more to do. By the end of this superset, it's been 30 sets total, which is a lot of volume. The next set of exercises is the barbell row and dips. The barbell row is another basic movement used by the classic bodybuilders to bring up their back thickness. I focus on stretching my lats, then bringing the bar up to my mid-abs and contract my mid-traps as hard as I possibly can. This is a great exercise to build up and move a lot of weight to overload your back. For dips, I went to failure and got only about 8 to 10 reps as I was very fatigued at this point. In terms of form, I keep my hips slightly back while leaning my body forward before lowering myself into a dip. This puts a lot of more emphasis on the pecs rather than your shoulders or triceps. I only managed to do 3 sets total on these rather than 5 as Arnold would prescribe, but it's my first time doing this workout, so I'll take that. This whole idea of high volume with heavy weight definitely gets to you by the end of the workout. I finished off with cable rows and dumbbell pullovers. The cable rows, I make sure that I fully stretch my lats, then fully contract as all the other back movements. You can clearly see how I fully stretch my lats forward and then bring my shoulders back in a retracted position for a full contraction. You want to widen the back as much as you can before bringing it in for a strong contraction. And with the pullover is another classic movement that further emphasizes the stretch of your lats and also works your chest as well as your serratus. Serratus is that group of muscles right in between your lats and your chest, so when you shred it, you have those little lines right above your abs. And if you're wondering how to get that and how to improve that area, the pullover is a very good exercise for that, especially when you shred it. Make sure you use a weight you can control and bring it behind your head till your lats cannot stretch anymore, and then pull back with your elbows and not your wrist. After this workout, I was absolutely beat, so I decided to go have a high-calorie post-workout meal and make sure that my body has enough food not to overtrain. In my opinion, as long as you're eating plenty of food and get enough rest, you will not overtrain. It's very hard to overtrain if you're feeding your body a lot of nutrients.
Right now, we're gonna go have a post-workout meal, and this is probably the best burger I've ever had. And I'm not gonna tell you guys what it is first. I'm gonna show you the burger, and I want you guys to guess where I got it from. All right.
Where my
Alright, check these guys out.
Wait, let it focus.
This is one of the best burgers I've ever had. It's from our franchise store.